The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's webinar, Getting Started with 5 Fundamental Domains of Cybersecurity Governance. And presenting today's topic is Ted Jordan. Ted has more than 25 years of Linux and Unix programming and training experience, working for companies such as General Motors, Silicon Graphics, and Sun Microsystems. Ted's Linux and ethical hacking background span from General Motors, Sun, and a cave virtual reality startup to running his own cybersecurity consulting firm, Jordan Team Learning, LLC. As a trainer, he has coached over 2,000 technicians and engineers to achieve their Linux and cybersecurity certifications, including CISSP, Security Plus, Linux Professional Institute, and Linux Plus. Now, please bear in mind that this is still an overview of a very robust topic. We do offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored toward your specific requirements. If you're interested in a further discussion about any of those, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at www.netcomlearning.com. Today's session is also being recorded, so you will get free access to that recording in the next 24 hours via email. Netcom Learning helps customers build Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adopting to change, and driving growth. And we do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. We have 9 practice areas in which we specialize, and they encompass people, process, and technology training services. Today's presentation is from the security practice area. Netcom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio for security courses, and our upcoming classes include various trainings on EC Council Cisco Certified Chief Information Security Officer, EC Council CEH Certified Ethical Hacking V12, EC Council CCISE Certified Cloud Security Engineer, and many more. Also, private training to teams is available for those, and the learning plans can actually be customized to the specific needs of each audience. You can also access a variety of security marketing assets, such as the free 1-hour training, by clicking on the available webinar handout. And these offerings can also be found with a simple search on our website at www.netcomlearning.com. Through this instructor-led webinar, you will learn about the various aspects of cyber risk management while understanding the crucial role played by the Cisco. And you will also learn about the concepts such as governance and risk management, audit management, vendor management, and much more. Now, I just want to give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started today. To start with, you have the option to adjust the window size to your preference. You can simply hit the escape key and find the Zoom button on the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters, but you can feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenters in the questions panel, and we will address those at the end of the session. Also, to get the best out of today's webinar, we've included the slides, courses we've talked about, and marketing assets in the handout section of your GoToWebinar viewer. You can refer to those to get a better understanding of the topic. Now, we realize that some of you may have to leave early, and we want to let you know that as soon as you do leave the session today, you will be presented with a short survey. We'd like to request you just take a quick moment to participate in that survey, because your feedback, it helps us understand your learning experience and improve our future sessions for you. And the survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding, and 1 representing poor. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the time over to Ted to present today's topic. Ted, you should be able to share your screen now. Thank you so much for joining us. You are
thank you. How are you?
I'm
Great to be a part of this. I appreciate you all inviting me here to speak on cybersecurity today. It's such an important topic, I think, that everyone knows. So we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to get right into it. I do want to mention, though, also that I have written 2 books on cybersecurity as well, and these are the Linux Plus Certification Guide and the certifying for the CISSP exam as well. And I've been teaching and certifying in cybersecurity now for about 10 years. And we all understand, especially if you've got an organization, that how important this is. The 5 fundamental domains basically include governance, risk management, the security controls, auditing, and vendor management. Now, I'm not going to go over these one by one because they really envelop, they overlap each other as you go from step to step. But I would like to talk about what organizations have to consider when setting up their cybersecurity governance programs, cybersecurity governance, and really just looking at security from the point of view. When we look at cybersecurity, we're looking at 3 main aspects: confidentiality of data, availability of data, and we're looking at data integrity as well. The best way to remember that is CIA. And when it comes to confidentiality, we have a couple solutions that we use. Encryption is one of the main ones, whether it be on a hard drive or through a network. And so, but when it comes to availability, some solutions we have for that are making backups of data. That way, if our data gets lost, it can still be made available to us when we need it. And then with integrity, we're just worried about has data been altered? So we're going to discuss some of those concerns and how you can plan and defend yourself from these kinds of vulnerabilities and these attacks from attackers. We're going to look at risk analysis and how we respond to those risks. We don't treat all risk equally. Some risks need $1 million of fix, others don't. So we're going to talk about how we can get our risks to acceptable levels. Then we're only as strong as our weakest link, and those links also come from our suppliers. Are our suppliers following some type of cybersecurity governance? Do they have do they have policies in place to make sure that their environment's also secure? So I want to cover that as well. And then we're going to look at regulations that are important to companies like yours and organizations like yours, and what you have to comply to, because really we have to protect a lot of data, but one of the most important pieces of data out there are protecting personally identifiable information, PII, and personal health information, PHI. And if those are vulnerable and attacked, it can lead to identity theft. And so we want to cover what it's going to take for an organization to put plans together to protect that, to protect all their data. And this all comes from putting strong policies in place from the management team. Now, some of the key threats that we have to concern ourselves with today, many of you have heard of: ransomware, which will go and encrypt your files. That's an attack on availability. Phishing attacks and insider attacks, those can be attacks on your data, the confidentiality and the integrity of the data. So there are organizations that have put frameworks together so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Your organization is thinking, hey, look, we need to put a security plan in place. We can go around the room and shout out what our ideas are, or work with people that think about this all the time. And that would be NIST and ISO. NIST is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, ISO, the International Organization for Standardization. And they've put together a framework to help you prepare, categorize, implement, and monitor your security management systems. The main differences between the two there's a lot of overlap for sure. But the main differences between the two is that NIST focuses on the federal government and what it takes to make sure that the IRS is secure, the Pentagon secure, and so on. ISO is more so designed for-profit organizations. And the NIST standards are freely available. The ISO standards cost about $4,000 to $5,000 a year. Now, but their ultimate goal in using both of these standards are to help protect PII and PHI. Now, they discuss 3 different levels of security controls, and these include management controls, physical controls, and technical controls. Now, the management controls are focused on what kinds of policies can we put in place to make sure our organization is secure. NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, employee agreements, contractor agreements. Those are all management solutions. Physical solutions include making sure that we have good physical security. That could include cameras, security guards, sign-in sheets, fencing, and a lot of people don't think about that with cybersecurity, because when they consider cybersecurity, they think only electronic solutions. But that's only one of the 3 parts, and that gets us to the technical solutions, where we are looking now at firewalls, switches, intrusion detection systems. And so these 3 together comprise our security solutions, and these 3 together are what management gets together to help put together a framework for the organization to protect their organization. Now, management does not only include the Chief Information Security Officer, does not only include the Chief Security Officer, but we're going to be looking at defining our data from all points of view, protecting our data from all points of view. And so that means part of the team will be human resources, operations, finance, especially finance. So this is not only a security issue, but every department or organization has security concerns, and putting together these frameworks helps to defend and protect these different parts of our organization from threats. And so our next step then is to do a risk analysis and take a look and see what assets in our organization do we have to protect. So we're going to look at all of our assets, and our assets not only include money or parts, computer parts, gear. Our assets also include our people and our intellectual property. So how do we protect our copyrights? How do we protect our trademarks? All of this is going to be part of our risk analysis. Now, there are a couple ways to figure out how we're going to respond to these risks, and we can do these quantitatively or qualitatively. Now, after we have gotten a list of all of our risks together, and again, working with the different departments, operations, finance, sales, legal, human resources, then we look at those assets, figure out their value, and then determine our exposure. So with the quantitative risk analysis, we're going to actually get hard numbers. How much are these assets? What are they worth to us? What's our exposure factor? What's the likelihood that these can be attacked? What is the, once we buy insurance, can we cut the cost on these? And how often, if we're looking, for example, at laptops maybe getting stolen, how often are they stolen or lost? How much, let's take a look at our past data and see how much this is costing us so we can better plan for the future. Another way to do this is qualitatively. And with a qualitative risk analysis, we can put together a risk matrix, and we can take a look I've got one on the screen here. And let's say that we're looking at blank paper. And the likelihood is a very, very low probability of blank paper being attacked. And the quantity, and if our blank paper is lost or stolen, it's very insignificant. So we're going to see that in the very, very low area. But if we have a server in the server room making us $10 million a month, well, the likelihood of that being attacked is very high and the consequence is extreme. So we're going to treat those risks differently. And so then we look at our risk responses. We can mitigate the risk. Risk mitigation means, for our server in the server room, what we're going to do there is make sure that we add on a firewall, add on to intrusion detection, hire a good, strong security team to manage that server. Let's drop to the bottom of our risk responses, look at risk acceptance. If we're looking at blank paper, if our blank paper is lost or stolen, we'll just buy another box. That's a risk we're going to accept. Now, if we take a look at our medium areas here in green, how can we respond to those? Well, we could transfer the risk to those by buying insurance or getting a third-party support company to manage those. So that's called risk transference. When you have another company manage that risk. And then finally, we can avoid the risk altogether by deciding, look, we're just not going to participate in that activity. Yeah, we know that we can make a lot more money if we sell car tires, but that's really not our market. Other companies do that better. We're going to avoid that risk altogether. So once you define which approach you're going to take, whether it be quantitative or qualitatively, then you have to find ways to make sure that once you added controls to manage those risks, that those controls are working. Now, there's one way to do that, and that's using the service organization control, or called the SOC 2 report. The SOC 2 report is when you decide to mitigate and transfer your risks, and you've added the security controls. Well, are those controls in place, and are they working? And that's what the SOC 2 report can do for you. And then once you finish conducting those audits that show, yes, our controls are in place and they're effective, make sure you publish that with a redacted version called the SOC 3 report. That goes on your corporate website, and that way your customers, your vendors, your suppliers, people that you sell to know that you have security in place and that you're concerned about it, and you're monitoring security. Now, the next part that we look at is then, again, our weakest link could be outside of our organizations. We've got security in place. We've done the SOC 2 and SOC 3 reports. We've done our audits. We put the controls in place. What about our suppliers? And there's an attack about 2 years ago that's been going on over a couple years called the attack on the SolarWinds routers. This is called a supply chain attack. I think they found out at the end of the day that it was the Russians that, they weren't sure if it was the Russians or the Chinese that did this, but I think they found out at the end of the day it was the Russians that launched this attack. And they were trying to actually get knowledge of what's going on in the Pentagon. And they couldn't get through the Pentagon. Their controls were too strong. They were in place. But they did find a way to access one of their suppliers and attack their routers. The routers were attacked. They were purchased by the Pentagon, and then the attackers were able to listen and monitor all the traffic going through their network because of that vulnerability. So a supplier's vulnerabilities can affect your organization's vulnerabilities. So before you bring on a supplier, you want to make sure that they have got controls in place for security. Do they have a SOC 3 report on their website? If not, what are they doing internally to manage security? Do they have controls in place? So review their report. If you're looking at suppliers seriously and they're the only ones that have what you need, then maybe you will have to conduct your own corporate audit against them to make sure that they put security in place before it enters your building. That way, you can better trust them, and your customers can better trust you, especially now that they know that you're working with your vendors and making sure that they've got frameworks in place for cybersecurity. So let's take a look now at some of the regulations out there that you also need to make sure that you're protecting yourself from, because with PCI compliance, CCPA standards, HIPAA standards, GDPR standards, we're going to talk about what these mean in a minute. They have fines that could be millions that could really put you out of business. And let's first talk about PCI DSS. PCI is for the payment card industry. And that is that if your company accepts credit cards, then you need to follow their contract agreements. You're allowed to keep credit card numbers, but organizations are not allowed to save the CVV code on the back of the credit card numbers. And if you're found non-compliant, again, this could put you out of business. If your business relies on credit cards, they can take away your right to accept credit cards. So also they demand that you do ethical hacking every year to make sure that your systems can withstand attacks from hackers. Now, California's got a set of standards, the CCPA, and these standards require you to protect their customers' data, their name, their PII, PHI, their name, phone number, tax credit, tax ID number, their credit card number. Every violation can cost up to $7,500. So again, you're motivated not only because of which you wanting to protect your customer, but again, these could lead to really huge fines against you. If you're a hospital or you're working in the medical industry, even as a medical biller or doing marketing, you need to follow HIPAA standards. And HIPAA standards can be as high as $50,000 per violation. So if personal health records get stolen by a hacker, your company is exposed to these fines. The maximum is up to 1.5 million per year, and they add some extra teeth in theirs because if PHI is stolen and they're able to show that you were not concerned about security controls, for example, you had no firewalls in place, these could also include jail time. So it's criminal and could be really expose your organization. Now, GDPR, these are standards for organizations that do company in Europe or in the UK, or any EU business or any EU country. They probably have the most severe standards, and in that for each violation, it's 10 million euros or 2% of your global business volume, whichever is more. And just to mention a couple of these, there was Amazon was fined $877 million for having it set up an improper way to opt out of cookies. Google was fined $102 million, making it too difficult to refuse consent, according to their point of view. So when it comes to cybersecurity, we're not only concerned about protecting our assets, but also we need to also be able to protect the assets of our customers and our organization. These could definitely put you out of business. And I just want to say thank you all for watching. Again, our 5 fundamental domains: governance, risk management, security controls, auditing, vendor management. Because of these persistent attacks from unethical hackers, insider attacks, and regulations, we are motivated to deploy cybersecurity solutions to protect our PII and PHI. And Netcom can really help you to put some plans in place to educate you on how to do that.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time for us today. Now, I know everyone is looking forward to the question and answer session, so go ahead and start putting your questions into the questions panel. And while you do that, I'd like to give our presentation rights over to Joby. He is our VP of Vendor Operations. He's going to introduce some promotions and webinar-related courses. Joby, I'm going to pass those presentation rights over to you real quick. You should be able to share your screen.
Thank you, Leila. I've shared my screen. Do you see it?
I do.
All right. So, Ted, I would say thank you very much for being with us today and explaining to all of us the fundamental domains of cybersecurity governance. And the way you've explained it, it was so simple. But at the same time, it covered the importance of it, and we are glad that we could be part of this session from you. Look forward to hearing from you as well in future, and at the same time, some of those questions which would come later, we would need your support as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, on behalf of Netcom Learning, I thank you for joining us and listening to this short, rather watching and listening this short webinar. That there's more to cybersecurity, we all know, but we thought that sharing some knowledge on behalf of Netcom is one of those steps which we thought would would be useful for everybody. Before I'll not take too much of your time, but since you're here, there are a few exciting things which we as Netcom, as a Netcom Learning, as a training organization, has to offer to you, and I would like to take you all through that. So first among these offerings is called as a learning passport. Now this is a prepaid option for any of you who's looking for training for your organization. It could be for your team, it could be for the whole organization. If you have your learning plans for the organization and for your team members, and you are looking at having some financial benefit in terms of savings, in terms of discounts, this is a beautiful product for you. So what we offer in this learning savings passport is that you make an investment of a certain value. There are different tiers available, which you see on the screen. So when you do that, we give you an add-on value. For example, you save about $45,000, which means you get additional $45,000 worth of training. So it's on our LMS, which we call it as Netcom 365. You can choose between instructor-led or virtual instructor-led and private trainings as well. So for those of you who are responsible within your organization for trainings, this could be a product which you could look at, and we offer a wide range of courses, approximately about from about more than 10 different vendors within the IT domain, and you could take advantage of it. Now, there's another product which we offer. We call it as a voucher passport. This is on the basis of number of days. So if you make an investment, you get a certain number of days training. So let's say you have 50 members in your team and your plan is to give them 2 days of training. You could pick up this product of 2 days of training and choose the courses from the repository which we have. And you have financial savings as well here, as you see in this as well. So this is one of those products which we wanted to show to you. The next one is a subscription platform. Again, we offer around 250 instructor-led e-learning courses and about 140 virtual instructor-led courses as part of the subscription. This is valid for 1 year, and it comes at a very, very low price of $2,999. And if you have more members within your team or within your organization, there are tiers which could be at lower price as well. So this is one of those subscriptions which I would encourage you to have a look at, because you can choose from any of those classes. Go to our, once you subscribe to it, there are schedules available. You could select your schedules as per your convenience. We run classes at different time zones. You could pick up any of those and take advantage of this product. And it comes at such a low cost. It completely depends on how much you're able to use out of this. We offer, if you're more keen on e-learning, we offer about 250 courses. And if you're looking at live instructor-led classes, which is virtual, you could choose from that as well. And the best part about this is that we also allow you to sit in the same class. If you think you would want to go through that again, you could enroll yourself into any of those schedules, and it comes at a very low cost. It comes at about less than $3,000 per learner. So that's another product which we wanted to tell you about. As Ted was telling us, cybersecurity happens to be one of those important things for every organization, and it's not specific to a single type of industry. It applies to everybody, whether it is government or BFSI, manufacturing, you name it. Everybody needs cybersecurity. And if the previous slide from Ted also spoke about PCI, HIPAA, GDPR, and so on. Apart from the other compliance requirements, one of those compliance requirements of these governance systems which he spoke about is that the end user or the employee security awareness training or cybersecurity awareness training. So we have this beautiful product which we are bringing it to you in association with EC Council, in which you could use this product at a very, very low cost, less than a cost of a coffee per user, for 1 full year with more than 100 different courses on cybersecurity awareness. And this product also comes with a simulation tool in which you could do phishing simulation on your employees. And we also offer phishing and smishing, which is voice-based simulation, and SMS-based simulations as well. And as an offer, as part of for being part of this event, we are offering you a 10-day free simulation as well. So please do visit our website, www.netcomlearning.com. You'll get more information about it. One specific course, the next thing which I want to tell you is EC Council's CEH, which is Certified Ethical Hacker. This is one of those prominent cybersecurity courses which we've all heard, and maybe many of you are aspiring to be, or maybe some of you have already taken this certification. The version 12, the latest version, has come in, and we are offering some attractive pricing on this. You could visit our website and get more information about it as well. So apart from this, there are a few things which I thought I must tell you, that we do offer more than 4,000 different courses and certifications within the IT and management space. If you think what we've discussed today and your interest lies beyond this, it could be Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, Red Hat, CompTIA, EC Council, ISC Squared, or any other ID certification which might be of your interest. We have it on our platform, and we would invite you to have a look at them as well. Events like this, we do run events on a regular basis. Apart from this, we also run master classes, which we call as free 2-hour classes, and they are completely free. Please do visit our website and go to the promotions page. You will see those information. If you think you're interested, please go ahead and register, and we will be glad to run those events for you. We do have blogs written by industry experts on various topics within IT and management. When you find time, please do visit our blog section. I'm sure those would be very, very informative as well. So, and as I said earlier, in our promotions section on our website, when you have a look at it, you will find a lot of offers and savings programs being presented there. So that's it. And once again, thank you on behalf of Netcom Learning for being part of this. And Ted, thank you for taking us through this presentation. Leela, over to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through all of that. We are going to go ahead and jump into our question and answer session. It is not too late to get your questions into the questions panel. But once we do get through our questions, just as we are trying to keep to our time, we will go ahead and wrap up. So our first question is Zero Trust policy part of the compliance listed in your presentation?
Yes, definitely. Zero Trust is part of the compliance because the authentication of the individuals in the of your organization is very important. And for those that don't know what Zero Trust means, we're talking about being able to access data from your organization. Let's say you're accessing it from home. Once you're inside your corporate network, you would need to be re-authenticated to access other devices in the corporate network. It wasn't always that way. Once you were in the network, you always had access. So Zero Trust would definitely be a huge part of one of the controls we're going to use to make sure our organization is secure.
And I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention that there is a poll that we just launched. I don't know why I spaced that, but if you can all just take a quick moment to answer that poll, it really helps us understand how we can better serve you and who might be interested in taking some additional training. So our next question is whether Ted is one of our Netcom Learning trainers. I do not know this. This is my first time presenting with you.
I am. I teach the Certified Ethical Hacker class. I teach the CISSP, Linux Plus, and Security Plus, and the Network Plus, CompTIA line, the IC Square line, and the other security courses. Linux is, out of all those, Linux is my favorite.
That's wonderful. Okay, it looks like we have time for one more question and then we will wrap up. What are some of the ways to mitigate insider threats?
Good question. One of the really starts at the beginning, doing a good background check of the employee that's coming on board. So you want to make sure that that employee has a strong credit record, hasn't been involved in any thefts or something criminal check. You start there, that can really help, and then making sure that they sign the non-disclosure agreement can also help as well.
Thank you. Okay, well, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Once again, sorry. Once again, we want to remind you that as you leave the session today, you will be presented with a short survey. We would like to request for you all to take a moment to help us out by participating in that survey, because your questions help us understand what your learning experience is, and we are constantly looking at how we can better improve our future sessions. The answers for the survey are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding, 1 representing poor. If you do come up with any additional questions that we didn't have time to get to today, please feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. We want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Joby. Thank you, Ted, for taking time to present with us today. And we hope that you all found today's webinar to be informative. We look forward to seeing you back here with us very soon. Also, please feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and upcoming courses. Once again, thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.